Hi there, this is the Specna Arms H04 or Air416c, and let's go over it. First of all, there's a few things you notice have changed, being that the original hop unit and barrel is outside, not in the gun. Pistol grip has been changed, and I've gone over both those in a different video, as well as there's a foregrip on there, as well as the sight and the P key box. First of all, gun's mostly made out of metal, the only thing being plastic being the pistol grip itself, obviously not that one. And on the end of the butt pad here. Everything else is metal, different instructions, some pieces being steel but not very many. Stock has 3 positions, you have all the way out, slightly further in, and fully collapsed. I've also changed the mag release to a ambidextrous one, but that's not too much of an issue, it's just because I'm left-handed. Comes with a 300 round high cap, which you have to wind with a key on the side. I haven't used this because personally I use mid caps, but it's quite nice quality and it's got some markings on the side there. All in all, it's not a bad mag. Going towards the front, also we have the selector switch being safe, semi and full auto. It's nice and clicky, quite stiff, it's quite nice. Better than some of my others. It's got a nice stiffness to it. We also have the functioning bolt release and charging handle, as well as the flip up sights, front and back. Being in a nighttime style, you can adjust them for windage and elevation with the dial, and they just simply flip up and flip down, and you have the front sight just over here as well. If I pull the charging handle back, we'll pull back the mock bolt, and you can see the hop unit I had to change it to. That'll be coming out soon, and a better one will be going in, just not currently. And we simply click the bolt release with a nice click, and it goes back forward, and then you can have to see the other side of that charging of the mag release. So it's a Cyma one, they're about £5, they're quite nice. The only thing I have to do is put a tiny bit of glue on the pin just in here, or it can fall out. Wobble wise, the only thing that wobbles ever so slightly is the mock kind of gas tube on the inside of here. Everything else is top bang. That's the only thing you can move in. Even the trigger guard is pretty much solid, so that's quite nice. The build quality of the gun externally is really nice. I can't fault it really. The rail is nice quality. As you can see, it's got a few it's got a few dings on it, but nothing too bad, and it is incredibly solid. It's got the also the rails have got one on each, small on each side and a big one on the bottom. It does have to take its own type of row, you can't just stick M-lock or anything like that, which is a bit of a pain, but fortunately it comes with these 3 sections. We also have the flash hider at the front there, which is quite long considering the original barrel went to about here. So it's quite a long flash hider, and I would normally run a shorter one, because I just wanted to show you the one that came on it. So I would normally run a shorter one on there, or a mini trace unit, as this is more of a CQB gun. Apart from the flash hider, this is pretty much how I'd run it inside. There's a nice little T1 sight on the top, and we have an 11.1 attached on the top. As far as about 310 FPS, can be a bit lower, can be a bit higher, but also it does have the quick change spring, but it's not particularly quick, because you still have to take the gearbox out of the actual receiver itself, and then you can pop the spring out the back. It's not like the H20 Edge, where you can just unscrew the buffer tube and then take the spring out. So when they say quick change spring, yeah, it's a little bit, it is technically a quick change spring, but it's not very quick, which is a bit of an annoyance. Sometimes they're not very clear as to which type of quick change spring you get with guns, so it's not always too clear which one it is, which is a bit unfortunate. So I have done some internal work with this gun, which I've gone over slightly in a separate video, partly due to the issues I had, as well as I wanted to install a Titan, a steel tooth piston and some 13-to-1 gears, as well as a few other little basic pieces. There's a couple of things left to do. One of those is replacing the air nozzle, which I do have, I just haven't got around to, as well as I also want to get rid of this pistol grip and potentially change the motor, because at the moment it's the regular motor in there. If I plug in this 11.1, you can have the 3 beeps, denoting the 3 cell. It's quite rapid, but it still sounds ever so slightly scratchy. I think I need to take one shim off of the sector gear, as well as part of that is due to the motor noise as well. But it sounds alright, it's not as quite how I want it. I have managed to use this in game. Obviously I had to change the pop-up unit, which is unfortunate, but it performed very well. Some nice range, and the gun itself is, as I said, built very well. A couple of the mags I was using have been Specna Arms PMag midcaps, as well as these Garda called Blue Force mags. Both of these work quite well, these ones being very lightweight. But as I said in the other video, I had originally problems with feeding with nearly every mag I had. However, I did try putting the original hop unit and barrel from this gun straight into a Specna Arms H20 Edge, and it did feed and fire fine, but didn't have the highest of FPS. So I'm not really sure what the issue would be. I still have to delve into it a little bit tighter, but it didn't work in this gun, unfortunately. At least not with the mags I had, which I know to work in every other gun I've tried them in. I've also put a small bit of Velcro, well, quite a big bit of Velcro on the inside of the mag well, just to stop some wobble. And if I put that in now, you can have, there's no wobble at all. If I shake holding by here, again, the only thing you can hear is the mock gas tube moving slightly. A couple of things I recommend actually if you get one of these Specna Arms H04s or the H07, the only difference is the 07 has the M-lock rail, which would be more practical. However, I like the look of this rail slightly more with the QD points at the top here, which you also have the sling point at the back here, which actually I wouldn't recommend using, because on the original one I had a couple of years ago, which was the normal with the normal rail, this came unscrewed. So the sling point here, there's a little Allen screw holding it in from the other side of the stop plate, which you can see just the end of the screw just there on my fingers. So when using it, it'll just come unscrewed and fall off, which is what happened to my original 416 that I had a couple of years ago, and it snapped the flip up front sight as well as damaged the flash hider, because this just came unscrewed. So if you plan on using this sling point, either be very careful of it and make sure you know it's unscrewing, or Loctite or glue it in place, just so you don't have the worry of that coming out and your gun falling to the floor. And then you have the QD points at the front, which you can stick a QD sling point in. Obviously you can't really if you've got a PQ box in the way, but you do have to run a PQ battery because it's wired to the front, or you can stick it on the side or the top, depends what kind of sight you have on there. Overall, this gun is quite good for the price. It's about £210 on patrol base. However, there are better things you can get for the same kind of price, even from the same brand. One being the Specna Arms Edge 416, which I will go over some of the differences in a separate video, but all in all, I would say is better, especially now that they've refined it slightly and fixed all the issues that came out with the original releases. Also, if you want the C style, with the collapsible stock like this is pretty much the cheapest ones you can get, and they do have good external quality. It's just the internals are lacking slightly. As I said in the other video, without having any shims or really any grease on the inside of the gearbox, it's sounding even worse than it still does. And then the general issues with the hop unit, as well as a few other things. I don't think I've had any Specna Arms rifles that haven't had some odd issue with them. My original Edge 416, the gears shattering a couple of thousand rounds, as well as the Aster wasn't set up properly, so the trigger had loads of movement, side to side wobble, and every time you put the gun onto semi from safe, it would just fire on its own because it felt like it. And they're the kind of problems you seem to have with Specna. It's just the kind of the quality control and attention to detail in the internals especially that just isn't up to par. It's unfortunate, but once you give them a little bit of a tweak, they work very nicely, and as I said, the build quality is good, especially for the price. I'll go over the differences between this model as well as the Edge series of 416s in a separate video. But yeah, all in all, good gun, would recommend. Thank you for watching this video. I know it's been a bit long-winded sometimes, but I appreciate it. Thank you.